Scotty Reed here with a Black Talk Radio commentary. On this particular commentary, I would like to focus on the story about Colin Kaepernick taking some heat from the media because he commented on Twitter about the outcome of the Philando Castile case in which a killer cop was set free by a jury. Now, this is an article from Mike Florio, who is writing for ProFootballFocus.com, I believe is the name of the website. Let me make sure I get that correct. It's ProFootballTalk.NBCSports.com. So this is an NBC affiliated sports website. Mike Florio, I've known about him for quite some time as a sports writer, and he penned an article, as you can see from the title. It says Colin Kaepernick is doing little to help his own cause. So let me just read a couple of excerpts from this article from Mike Florio about Colin Kaepernick and what he tweeted out. He says the ongoing unemployment of Colin Kaepernick raises plenty of important questions regarding truth and lies and right and wrong in the NFL. But Kaepernick has done himself few favors when it comes to nudging public opinion in his favor. On one hand, it may not matter. Public opinion tends to cure quickly and to become more permanent than a tattoo. On the other hand, Kaepernick may not care. Regardless, Kaepernick hasn't helped himself if his goal remains to get a job with the NFL team. So what Mike Florio is saying here, and I'm sure there are plenty of people who agree with him, that if Colin Kaepernick wants to play again in the NFL, then he has to shut up and be quiet and be a good Negro and not speak out on injustices that he sees in his society. So, you know, he's just supposed to entertain us on Sunday and attend practice all throughout the week. And he's not supposed to care if a man is gunned down in front of his child and his girlfriend while doing absolutely nothing wrong but being a passenger in a car. So this is what Mike Florio and those like Mike Florio are saying about Colin Kaepernick. Hey, if he wants to play in the NFL, if that's his cause, then he's not helping himself by continuing to speak out on these issues of police violence and murder that's occurring darn near every day in the United States. Mike Florio goes on to write about what Kaepernick had to say. A system, this is Kaepernick's words, they're in quotations, a system that perpetually condones the killing of people without consequence doesn't need to be revised. It needs to be dismantled, Kaepernick said, with a photo of a modern-day police badge next to a runaway slave patrol badge. Apart from giving those who already dislike Kaepernick's views more ammunition for doing so, his tweet should invite speculation as to whether what was leaked to Schefter in early March still applies in mid-June and whether the outcome in the Castile case makes Kaepernick inclined to kneel during the anthem again. So they stuck on this sanctimonious ritual that the NFL implemented some years ago when they started accepting money from the U.S. military to promote nationalism and to promote militarism. And so Kaepernick has said, or at least it has been said on Kaepernick's behalf, that he doesn't plan to continue that form of protest. He's made his point about that. But here we got Mike Florio and others more concerned about whether Colin Kaepernick will kneel during the playing of the Slavers Anthem. And I say Slavers Anthem because it was written by a slaver and a racist white person. And they're not concerned about the Philando Castiles of the world. They're not concerned about American citizens being gunned down by people who are supposed to be public servants but are not. And Kaepernick is right. This is the type of language we have been using for the past 5 years on New Abolitionist Radio. We have people calling slavery mass incarceration. It's not mass incarceration because the mass majority of people in the United States are not being thrown into prison slavery. It's slavery. It's the constitutionally prescribed method for punishing people for committing quote-unquote crimes. And they make up all kind of activity, victimless crimes, non-violent crimes. They just make up stuff and say you can't do this or do that, or we'll throw you into slavery. So he is using the correct language, and we say you can't reform slavery. You have to abolish it. How can you reform slavery? So that's the danger of the mass incarceration language, and Colin Kaepernick is actually using more accurate language to describe what he's seeing, the symptoms of the slavery system. Now, are cops slave catchers? Well, yes, they are slave catchers. These are the direct, there's a direct line from the slave patrols to the first police departments, which, if I'm not mistaken, I think the NYPD, it may be the Boston Police, was first set up in the 1600s. What kind of laws were they enforcing? Like the Fugitive Slave Act and returning people into slavery and what have you. So these are, in fact, slave catchers. You know, when you're out there just trying to meet a quota, writing tickets, making arrests, simply so that you can keep the system going, then you are doing nothing but being a slave catcher. You're doing the job of a slave catcher. You're not being a protector. You're not being a public servant, right? Now, I know some people grow up and they want to be cops because they had this ideal in their head that cops are good people and they're only out to stop the bad guys, okay? Nothing could be further from the truth. Now, I'm not making a sweeping indictment of all people who want to become police officers. They may want to become police officers for the right reasons. But once they get into that culture of slave catching, then, you know, they just may not be able to hold on to any kind of values, principles, and morality that they had before. We've seen whistleblowers among police and how those whistleblowers are treated, how their lives are put in danger, and how the system just turns on them. The slavery system turns on them for not wanting to engage in immorality that the job requires. But just in case you need further convincing that most of what they do is not about public safety, it's about slave catching, I have a video news report that was shared with me by Erica and AO. Team Davis shared this video with me. And I just want you to watch this video. It's about maybe 7 to 8 minutes long. We're going to let it play out. But you tell me what these people are doing has anything to do with public safety and keeping us safe. Or if it's all about driving their numbers to meet their quotas, make their arrests, to put people on the path to slavery. So here is a report coming out of Georgia on what some of these slave catchers are doing.
Drunk driving arrests are down sharply after decades of aggressive enforcement, while drugged driving arrests are actually climbing. Georgia now has more than 250 officers with special drug recognition expert training, but 11 Alive Chief Investigator Brendan Keefe discovered some drivers are getting arrested for driving stoned, even when their drug test came back clean.
You got anything to drink tonight?
Not tonight, no.
Not tonight, okay. One of the things that we do is we ask people to go through this thing, okay?
Caitlin Ebner crossed the line and got pulled over on her way home from work.
Go real hard. Keep going until I ask you to stop. Keep going, keep going, keep going. You can stop.
No, she wasn't drinking. All tests for alcohol came up empty.
When's the last time you smoked marijuana?
Oh, I don't do that. I can give you a drug test right now.
You don't smoke marijuana?
I do not,
okay.
no.
Well, you're showing me indicators that you have been smoking marijuana, okay?
I didn't realize that you could get arrested for something that you didn't do until it happened to me.
What's your risk from that? I don't want to
Is some marijuana?
No, ma'am, not possession unless I find it in your car. I believe that you're impaired by the marijuana that you've smoked.
Before you felt those handcuffs closing over your wrist, did you understand just how serious this was?
I didn't understand. As soon as I took that breathalyzer, I thought I was going home.
This time you're being taken into custody, okay, for DUI drugs.
The waitress spent the night in jail and had her alcohol server's permit revoked because of the DUI arrest. After 4 months, prosecutors dismissed all charges because her blood test came back completely clean. You had to spend months and thousands of dollars proving your innocence.
I did.
When's the last time you smoked weed? You don't smoke weed?
The same thing happened to this college student 2 weeks earlier on Good Friday.
Well, I believe you have, okay? I need to borrow your arm real quick, okay? I believe that's why you were failing to maintain your lane and driving halfway on the ramp when I was behind you. Give me just 1 second. Give me just 1 second. That's correct.
I didn't understand. I'm like, why are you arresting me? Like, what did I do? He said DUI of a substance. I'm like, what?
You arrested me because you think I smoke marijuana?
I believe you're impaired by cannabis. Yes, ma'am.
First, I don't smoke weed. Is there a way you can test me right now?
Princess Umbamara was also jailed and fought the DUI drug charges for half of 2016. So the blood test comes back, they toss the case.
I remember my lawyer trying to talk about a deal. I was like, what? I'm not taking a deal. I didn't do anything. I want, like, my life back. Can you reverse time?
Can you stick your tongue out real big?
Months later, it happened a third time to this Auburn student.
You're giving me indicators that you have consumed marijuana, so you're being placed on the arrest for DUI, okay?
The prosecutor filed this dismissal of the student's DUI drug charge 5 months later. Defendant performed well on field sobriety evaluations, and blood and urine were negative. 3 DUI drug arrests, 3 tox screens negative for marijuana. 1 police officer. Cobb County's T.T. Carroll. Documents show Carroll is one of the highest rated and best trained officers on Cobb County's legendary DUI task force.
Well, you're showing me numerous indicators.
He's a certified drug recognition expert.
Well, I don't believe you're telling me the truth, okay? I don't believe, because I'm seeing some involuntary indicators that you've consumed marijuana.
One of 250 Georgia officers who've gone through this intensive month-long training. A drug recognition evaluation involves a dozen observations that allow officers not only to pronounce a driver is on drugs, but to identify which of 7 types of drugs are in their system.
Marijuana? How do you look at somebody and say marijuana?
There are involuntary responses of the body that we can observe that would suggest impairment of marijuana.
He did these.
All right, I'm going to stop it right there. As you can see, this is junk science. This is just, I'm trying to keep it clean here, but it just angers me. And this is supposed to be the good guys, right? So, oh, you can see involuntary movements in my body, and you can determine what type of drug I'm on. Anybody with any kind of logical sense know that is garbage. This is all about filling up the prison plantations. This is all about filling up the county's coffers with money from their victims. This is extortion. This is terrorism. All right, this is state-sponsored terrorism and slavery. So this is what, so Colin Kaepernick is right. These people aren't out there about public safety. They're out there to lock people up, to write tickets, and to lock people up. So the Mike Florios of the world, pay them no mind, because they certainly aren't paying you any mind. They don't care that American citizens are being preyed upon by those who are supposed to be sworn to protect them, which is really not true. They're sworn to uphold the laws. No matter how unjust those laws are, that is what they are sworn to uphold. So Colin Kaepernick is right. There's the evidence. These are slave catchers out there ruining people's lives. This has been Scotty Reed with Aiden, Black Talk Radio news commentary. Remember, you can follow and get more of my commentary by following us on blacktalkradionetwork.com. Just sign up for a free subscription. Also, join our social media community. It's one of the ways that we fund our social media, our media operations. Is just a $24 a year membership fee to join our social media community, where your information will not be used against you like some of these other platforms are using your information and selling it. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook, Black Talk Radio Network, as well as Twitter at Black Talk Radio. Peace.